Who has the best bob in the Pokemon universe? Ooh, fun conversation to be had today, isn't it? I had this little idea pop into my head because Blake Jennings is a creator that people put me onto. They made a girly pop bracket, like tournament bracket of Marvel Rivals characters. I did not know that the brackets tier list thing existed, even though when you scroll down at the bottom of the tier maker site, it shows you that it's there. Look, sometimes we all learn in different ways, okay? So I've curated a list of the entire national Pokédex of Pokemon that have bobs, that have things that look like bobs, and we're going to figure out who has the best bob in the Pokemon universe. We're literally going to stack them against each other, analyze them, and figure out who has the best bob in the Pokemon universe. I'm excited to get into this, so let's just go ahead and get into this. It's a tournament bracket. I feel like that's pretty easy to understand, so pump the beat, let's go. These are the brackets of all the Pokemon that I consider to have a bob or something just bob adjacent enough to be considered. I'll let you get a good look because I'm going to be sitting right here and I'm going to be blocking it a bit. So get yourself a good look. And I know it's quite small right now, but as we like get in and in and in, I'll try to crop it to make it a little bit bigger. Now let's get started with the bob off. First up, we have Uxie versus Hisuian Lilligant. Already starting off really, really contentious and interesting. The reason why Hisuian Lilligant is in here is because there is some leafage in the back that kind of gives the shape of the bob. We have the bang, we have the side, we have the back, and I really like the fascinator on the top. I feel like Uxie has a, and people keep correcting me on Uxie, Uxie, I don't know. I call her Kelly Rowland. I completely forgot that I edited Kelly Rowland into my entire playthrough of Pokemon Platinum. Y'all don't understand that when I make my videos, me, caffeine, a concept, and a dream, and then when I post the video, I forget everything that I've done. So let's all just stop and appreciate the icon that is Kelly Rowland the Uxie. What is it, Kelly Rowland? Are you telling me to use this boulder? Kelly Rowland has a very typical bob, but in all honesty, I'm liking the vibe of Hisuian Lilligant more. She's getting it. Ooh, Tapu Lele versus Illumise. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to eliminate one of them yet. Okay, ooh, these are both really, really good bobs. Tapu Lele has such a sweet, like luscious bob, but if I'm being honest, if Illumise was not here, she would have won. Illumise just has an iconic bob. I love it. It's gotta be Illumise. Volbeat versus Slurpuff. I only put Volbeat here because she is Illumise's sister. Let's be real, Illumise has the more iconic bob. Volbeat's is just, it's receding in a way that's not fashion anymore. Slurpuff is taking this. Mega Absol versus Luxio. I put Luxio in because if you look at it close enough, you do get the shape of a bob. But in all honesty, like, Mega Absol not only gives you length, asymmetry, she has a bob already that we know of, and she evolved it in a way that we really, really enjoy. A lot of people want to say that she's like lost it a bit in the Mega Evolution, but I don't agree. I don't agree. We know what the original shape is. She put some extensions in and she made it a little bit more elevated and interesting. Like if you just like the original, then you can just go for the original, but I like it. Mega Absol. Oh, Simipour, I am so sorry. Simipour, every time I talk about Simipour or feature Simipour in content, she just always comes in second place. Sneeze Snoot is going in the box. So don't forget it. We can't, let's say this one together. 1, 2, 3, Espathra. You know, what's really interesting is I included Inkay because we have the likes of like Alcremie and like Hisuian Lilligant. I was like, they're not necessarily the most typical bobs, but you can see the shape. I knew that she was going to be a weaker one, but I just wanted to give her her highlight. Alcremie is the one that's going to be taking this one. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, I did a bob video on TikTok and Instagram, and many people were like, you have to talk about Alolan Dugtrio. I'm so sorry, Alolan Dugtrio, that you have to go against Gardevoir. I do like Alolan Dugtrio. The hair moment is really, really fun. We're getting 3 different hairstyles, one of them being a bob, the luscious blonde. It's camp. It's really fun. Credit to that. But Gardevoir is, she's the bob. She's the bob. Absol versus Miss Magius. And Miss Magius is another one that I wanted to include because I'm like, is this a bob? It kind of reminds me of Uxie. And the fact that I included it is the hairline does go to the eye and then the structure sort of goes below to the neck. It's giving bob, but flared out to be a hat. And I think like a hat bob is really iconic. But we're talking about the best bob here, and really Absol's giving you asymmetrical bob. Like, okay, so we're still working on the left side. Let me crop this. I didn't know it would only do the left side, but since we're here, hopefully that should be a little bit better for y'all. I'll crop it for the right side. Y'all saw it at the beginning. We have Hisui and Lilligant versus Ilumise. Look, at this point, after preliminaries, we have to start thinking about structure. We have to start thinking about quality. Hisui and Lilligant, you're going really crazy with it, and that's a really gorgeous hairstyle, but in all honesty, Ilumise has the strongest, most on-brand bob, so we have to go with her. Slurpuff versus Absol. So at this point, I'm gonna have to listen to the people who have their critiques over Absol's experimental mega bob. Yes, it gets very experimental. Yes, in preliminaries, it was interesting to explore, but right now, I'm really looking to see if you can take a bob, keep it as close to a bob as possible, but still add a little bit of charm to it. In Slurpuff's defense, that little thingy at the top, it's very cute, but she's still giving bob. I'm gonna go with Slurpuff. When it comes down to this, we know who has the most sickening bob. Let's once again say it together. 1, 2, 3, Espathra. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, this is going to Absol because after Rihanna's run, that asymmetrical bob era, I can't look past Absol. The asymmetrical bob is a valid bob. When we go to the mega, it's starting to become a new hairstyle, but the asymmetrical bob is still a bob. I'm giving this to Absol. Now, for the semifinals, Volbeat and Slurpuff both have a charming bob that they keep the structure and they add their own personality to it. I just think that the very pinup girl 1950s sort of radio singer type of moment, it translates more to a bob. That little curly Q at the end, it's got to go to Volbeat. Yeah. And sometimes the classic is the way to go. We have given flowers to the asymmetrical bob and we have said it's a valid bob. But sometimes that Lady Gaga harsh bang platinum blondes moment, is it synthetic? Is it real hair? Who cares? 1, 2, 3, Espathra. Two very classic bobs stand before me on the left side, but only one of them will be in the running to become the best bob of Pokemon. Ilumise, your bob has kept you from being one of the most obscure Pokemon. While we understand that in Scarlet and Violet you have gotten your time to shine, and yes, many of us girly pops did get your shiny, it's that bob that got you this far. Espathra, speaking of Scarlet and Violet, you're a newcomer, but in the conversation of bobs, it seems as though you've always been here. You understand the power in a classic bob. This is a very tough decision for me, but if I'm going to really consider how the audience will receive this, if I'm going to really consider bobology, I have to give this to Espathra. What I like about Gardevoir is that she understands that in 2025, the competition is going to be fierce. And it's a good thing for us. We are spoiled for choice as girly pops, and we have our pick of the litter, really. I honestly think that Mega Gardevoir's bob is more sickening than Classic Gardevoir's bob. Like extending the ear out and letting the hair really curl under the ear moment. It's just, I don't know, it takes it a little bit further. The reason why Glaceon is here is because every time I talk about bobs on the internet, somebody has to bring up Glaceon. Baby, it's bald in the back. It's got the bang, but it's Gardevoir, it's Gardevoir. I just put Glaceon there because every time I talk about it, somebody brings up Glaceon, and I just wanted to show y'all up against a real bob what Glaceon looks like. I love Glaceon down, don't get me wrong, but let's be real. Now let's talk about these two because these are two very experimental bobs in the preliminaries. Meowscarada is wearing a mask, but if you took that mask off, you can see the shape of a bob hairstyle. It's very slicked back, and I do think that's a valid bob. We've seen a slicked back bob before. Who's that girl that played in Twilight? She does a slick back bob a lot, and it looks hot. And here we have Hisuian Growlithe. Now I think this one might take some people by surprise, but look at the shape of the hair. Yeah, that's a bob. You can't tell me that's not a bob. Yes, it has a little bit of a beard moment, but because the line in the art shows that it's disconnected, I believe that that's more of a neck piece and not a connected hair, if you get what I'm saying. I find Hisui and Growlithe bob a little bit more compelling, if I'm being real with you. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Sorry to the Meowscarada fans. I really promise that I don't try to like drop the ball on her all the time, but we just haven't had a conversation where she's winning yet. Azelf and Marini. Okay, so we know who's gonna win this, right? But let's go ahead and talk about Azelf. I wanted to put Azelf in because Azelf does have... Creselia's got this bob too. The Cresselia bob moment. It's like a sharp bob, but the way that the pieces extend and the shape that it makes still gives bob to me. I know that it's not hair, and I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I'm looking for bob shape, okay? Like Pokemon, not all Pokemon have hair growing out of their head. I'm looking for bob shape. I see the bob shape. That's all to say that Azelf will be eliminated in the preliminary because we all know who has the bob. Like literally her silhouette is a bob. Marini. Ooh, see? You see how it pans out? When you really want to understand the bobology of the Pokemon universe, it just naturally pans out. Like us around here, we know what we're talking about. Cresselia has a really compelling bob, right? But it's the Platinum Lady Gaga Blunt Bang moment. 1, 2, 3. Smooch him. Okay. The right side has a lot of interesting things in the preliminaries. Now, I know I can hear people being like, Esper doesn't have a bob. Look at how the hair comes out. Look at where the art accents the hair. You have a bang, you have a little bit of a flare out. It's a weak bob, but it's a messy, fun bob. We're giving our flowers to Esper because we know she's kind of doing the Marini moment. Like the silhouette is the bob. 1, 2, 3, Whimsicott. Now that we finished the preliminaries and we've given our flowers to the girls who wanted to experiment, because we appreciate experimentation. But now let's talk about the bobs. Hisui and Growlithe does have a pretty sickening bob. I love that the bangs go over the eyes. I love how thick and luscious that bob is. That bob looks heavy, right? But there's a messiness to it too. The question still remains, is it connected? I don't believe that it's connected to the neck, but I can see how the audience might. Some people in the audience might see that. We have that up against a very classic bob, but not only a classic bob, but a classic bob that was then elevated. We have to give this to Gardevoir. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This comes down to two legends, doesn't it? Doesn't it? When it comes to the conversation of bobology, one Pokemon here started the conversation. And one Pokemon here benefited from the conversation. In this round, we've been talking about who's giving classic, and I think it's best at this moment to give flowers to the Pokemon who walked so the rest of them could run. Smoochum is getting this. And Whimsicott just naturally moves on because, as you can see, they didn't have anybody to go against, but it's fine. That's a pretty iconic bob. Let's talk about, I didn't want to come to this decision. I didn't want to come to this decision. I didn't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I've given my flowers to both of them. I can feel people unsubscribing right now. Smoochum is taking this round. And Smoochum is taking this round. Two iconic bobs stand before me. And only one of them will be crowned the best bob of the Pokemon universe. It's unfair to give a second place to these two. It really is. And I really have to think about this. Espathra, you showed up on the scene as Flittle and was received very poorly by some people. But when you evolved, you gave us such an iconic bob that you redeemed the whole story, really. Showed the power in the modern age of what bobs can be. And Smoochum, like I said before, you started this conversation. While you're probably one of the least talked about baby Pokemon, you come from a pretty iconic girly pop, and it's only natural that the baby form would feature such an iconic hairstyle. When I'm thinking about the conversation of bobology, I feel like it's appropriate to give flowers to the one who really lives in this category. And when I say that, I see these two, and it's still so difficult for me. The Pokemon that I'm going to choose to be the best bob of the Pokemon universe is Smooch him. Now, why smooch him? Let's talk about this. I've done years of girly pop content, okay? But when I'm talking about bobs, I just feel like we have to be real. And we see it in how they all stack up. I even put in like unconventional bobs. I went through the entire National Pokédex and I put in unconventional bobs just to see like where this conversation would go. And putting them up against each other, really giving them all consideration. Smoochum is the Bob of the Pokemon universe. She might not have the highest power level. She might not be the strongest baby Pokemon, but she is the Bob. She is the Bob.